Y'all ready for this?
Welcome to the DeVerna podcast, where we talk about business, life, and how to win at both.
So I'm here with my buddy / personal trainer / sparring partner at times / whatever, like kind of he's a really interesting guy. So I work with some close family of his, and I've done some work with him, and I'm super excited about this conversation because I don't even know necessarily where it's going to go because there's so many like rabbit holes we could run down together. So I'm super excited, Bill. Before we get started, is there anything you should be like, man, we got to talk about this?
Changing the name of the podcast, Double D's and a Microphone. You'll get a ton of subscribers, maybe not the ones you want, but it'll lead you to those kind of pathways. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, man.
No, man, we can have fun. We'll have a conversation. We'll just we'll see where it goes.
Right on. So let's start with establishing kind of what you do for work. Like that's like your normal job, because you have some other kind of, I don't know, side hustles or if not side hustles, hobbies that like take you down other avenues, right?
They are 100% side hustles. I'm the champ of side hustling.
Yeah, I like it.
The main job working at Fitz this year, as you know, the personal training studio, which I've been here for like 15 years, and it's I kind of cut my teeth coming up and through here, and then figured out how to grow and run a business, and post college in like 2008, right in the middle of the recession. So you really kind of figured out what you got to do to make things work and how to make money in this business, and the best way to do it. And there's no shortcuts, and there's no there's really no like schemey way to do it to become like a good like physical trainer. It's 100% just like hard work and working for your people, not working for yourself, and making sure that you're taking care of everybody. And then if that's where your passion is, people get that and they acknowledge that, and that's how they spread the word around about you. And that's how you get popular and get clients and maintain them for a long time. So I've been super blessed to be here, man. It's been such a it's been such a constant, I don't want to say roller coaster, because it hasn't been. It's been pretty consistently just gradually going uphill this entire time, and I've been able to keep making progress and pushing through. I get to this step, and then my next step is going to be something else and something bigger and something more and more and more. And so I like that, and I've been able to make a living out of it. And I was telling someone the other day, I don't feel like I'm at work, like I'm doing my job, but I don't feel like I'm at work.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the difference. So no, I definitely love it here, and I'll have total aspirations of taking this place over when Dan, is the proprietor of the place, retires. So when he retires and I take the place over and go from there, I think it'll continue to run super smooth and be really popular and help out a lot of people in the community, which is ultimately what we're doing. We're just helping people out post rehab, and people that won't find a great trainer somewhere else, we're able to fill that void. So I love it.
It's great. Don't you think in a time like this, like the light bulb is really like right on top of like health? Like this is when I mean, we've been very lax about how we take care of ourselves here in the United States, but don't you think that this is maybe the first time, maybe in our lifetime, that it's like, hey, like this is really important that you need to be paying attention to some of these things, because this differentiates. There's kind of two groups. Like there's a group of people that really need to be worried about this, and some of that may be also age based, but definitely health based. And then there's a group of people that are like, they're probably just going to be fine no matter what, right?
It's weird that it's such it bounces around so much. I know someone, this is the first time since this started that I know somebody personally that got COVID, and I don't know her great, but I know well enough, and she's a super ultra runner, like a really talented runner. And what was amazing to me was to hear people talking about it, that the fact that she got it, and she was actually sick for like a couple of days. And my immediate reaction was, wow, like I can't believe that girl out of anybody got, actually got symptoms and got sick. So that's weird because on the other end, you got people like myself that are total meatheads that don't think that they're ever going to get it and think that, you could, throw a water balloon full of COVID in our face and we would just bounce off and be fine and ask for seconds. And I feel like a lot of people feel like that, and I feel like if it's not your problem, if it hasn't become your problem yet, like you don't consider it like a big issue. And that's where, you get into all the, everyone has a different opinion about it and how it's going to go. Ultimately, I think the people that, did always take care of themselves are just going to take care of themselves more. And people that didn't, I really hope that they turn around or they're just like, oh, wow, this is a wake-up call. I should pay a little bit of attention to, what I eat or how much I sleep or what my, hygiene is like. Or maybe, big thing here, I know, but exercise a little bit. I mean, not a lot of people in this country work out, and it's, you don't got to hit the gym up for 2 hours every day and go nuts. I mean, that's the biggest misconception I get with people when they start. They're like, well, what else can I do? And it's like, well, let's just start and kind of see what happens. Like, you don't need to, we're not going to break any barriers today, like we have to slowly get into it. So I hope that people, do take this as a wake up call. And, that they, will in fact, make some changes in their life. But, it doesn't like with losing weight, for example, like losing body fat, people ask about it all the time. And there's no, complicated answer. It's just, you just got to make changes, like that's all it is. You make changes in your life. You make slow, gradual changes that are palatable to you, lack of a better term, and that you can deal with going forward. And like, that makes a change. Like, it's not going to happen this week or this month, but like over the course of a year, if you've made 12 changes in your life, after a year, you're like, oh my God, I've gotten to a point where like, I'm happier. Now what's the rest of my time going to be like? And I think that's the way that, people have to do it, especially now looking at this, if they're, getting sick, like, okay, what are some changes you can make right now that you can deal with, on a long-term basis, not a diet that has like an end date. Like, I'm going to do this 30-day diet or this 3-day cleanse or anything, because there's an end date to it. And after that end date, I can go back to doing what I like to do before. Like, that never works. That stuff never works. And that's how people prey on other people in this industry. And that's how you get, scam artists as trainers or nutritionists or all that. It's not saying all nutritionists or trainers are scam artists, but there's a ton of them out there, and they love to prey on people and they love to prey on their insecurities and weaknesses. And that's not the way to do this. That's why people get turned off by it. And that's, why people go back to eating chips and drinking soda and not working out, because they think everyone's just full of crap in this industry and they don't trust them. So I hope that what this has done is get a lot of those people out of the business, and the good ones stuck around.
Yeah, that's great. So how long does like, if you typically take on a new client, are they working out with you for like how long how often, like once a week, couple times a week? Like, how long? Like, are they long workouts, short? Like, what's it kind of look like if somebody's looking to start working out with Billy Decker?
So the business model that we have here at the studio is we do hour sessions. And, when I know everybody says it, but when we say personal training, and it really is personalized, and I know that gets tossed around a lot. We mean it here, and we mean it to the point where, like, it's really in our best interest to make sure you're happy. Like, I don't have like contracts to sell. I don't have like long-term commitments. I don't have any kind of hidden fees or memberships or t-shirts or, anything like that. It's pretty cut and dry, and we do hour-long sessions, and it's broken up however people want to do it. I get some people that come in that, are in better place financially than others, and they want to do, 3 or 4 days a week. I had other people that come in that, say maybe they'll do once every other week or once a month or something. So it really all depends on the person. I never try to push it, because if I try to push it and it becomes like a negative thing to people, they're going to have a negative time in here, and then they're going to have a negative result, and they're not going to like what's going on, and they're going to get pushed more away from it. However, if I have somebody that's super pumped about it and I treat them right and I say, yeah, absolutely, we can meet once every other week, and we can still get you some progress, and I'll kind of give them an idea of, what to do in their other time. And then from there, they're in a good mood. They're in a better spot. They're happier, and they're going to tell their friends, oh yeah, this guy really worked with me and he gave me this interesting stuff to try out and do. And that's a better way to go, because then I'm not dreading the hour. The client's not upset with the hour. We're having a really good time. And the next time I get to see them, they're like, oh, hey, yeah, I got this, progress I get to tell you about. And here's what I've been doing. And here's how it's been going. And here's where I want to take things in the future. And that, both ways work out well. Then you got someone else who wants to come in and only do the stuff, only do their exercise at the studio 3 or 4 days a week. And that's cool too. And we do that as well. And they're happy with that result, also. So I literally play it on the person, and I 100% have both of those cases right now. I got somebody that comes in 4 days a week and crushes it. And then I got somebody I see once every other week, and they are happy to send me texts and give me progress reports and explain to me how great things have been going. So
awesome.
That's how it works.
That's great. So I know you do the personal training thing, but one of the things that you did, like you do a whole bunch of things that are obscure to most people. For sure. And I know that think of it for fun. So everybody that's watching this probably knows I've been a martial arts guy for 15 years. I do some striking stuff with Sensei Hertzellers. I do jujitsu with Dante Leon. And so we've done some of that, dabbled in that stuff, but Billy was scheduled to go fight somebody in a cage, and the guy dropped out, and he's like, hey man, you should plug in and fill the void for us. We should fight in a cage. And I'm like, no way, man. And he's like, oh no, we're about the same size, which we're not. He has muscles. I do not. And he's got an intensity level that I don't have. But you did end up fighting in the cage. How many times have you done that? And tell us a little bit about what takes a guy in your place in life into a place like that. That's a very dark place in my mind that you end up in.
100%. So I fought a few times back in 2008, 2009. And when I did that, it was way before there was any kind of sanctioning body in MMA. I mean, it was, fairgrounds and dirt floors and fold up chairs, and the cage would touch the top of the building. So literally the promoter would come out and be like, all right, you guys can't throw anybody overhead because you literally had no space to move, and those, light fixtures were falling apart, and there was no blood work, and you didn't know who you were fighting until that day. I mean, it was nuts. Those were the early super shady days. And when they kind of came in and in my opinion, they kind of came in too hard. But at least in Michigan, they came in and really kind of put a sanctioning body behind it. And then people, had to get blood work, and then they had to, get a license to fight. And then they had to, do criminal background checks. And and all this stuff. And that really took away a ton of competitors. It's interesting to watch those early UFCs where you saw the 91, 92 UFCs, and you saw these guys that were that guy's totally on steroids, or there's no way that guy's legit. You saw a ton of that in the early MMA days back at that time period, because guys would come in and have no idea how to fight. I mean, literally one dude I fought was smoking after the fight, immediately after, and so it's really? All right. So these guys, they didn't take it seriously at all. So I went through, I got done with that. I think my last fight was in 2009, and then I was basically on a break. I mean, I graduated through college, and then I met my wife, and then we started a family, and then built on my business here, and kind of did all that for the last 10 years. And we had a pretty significant tragedy kind of in our community a couple years ago out near Metamora, Ohio. It's where I'm at, or near there anyway. And after that happened, and it was super scary. And I won't go into details for the family and everything, but it was very, very terrifying. And after that happened, just something just clicked. Something changed. And from that point on, it was I needed to feel ready like all the time. Does that like kind of makes any sense? Like
Sure.
I needed to know that baseline was like, keeping the family safe, keeping myself safe, keeping innocent people around me safe. And it's like, I don't know why I felt like that was on me to do, but I just did, and so after that happened, and I went and took Tim Kennedy's sheepdog response course with my brother, Joe, that you know well. And, did that to get, better at, being more proficient with, weapons handling.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that. Cause most of us, I mean, I know who Tim Kennedy is cause I'm a fan, right? But most people don't know who he is and what kind of training you're doing when you go to do stuff like that. Cause that too is unique.
Yeah. So, Tim Kennedy's, Army Special Forces and was a UFC fighter for like 17 years. Very successful in both realms. Super interesting guy. But his course, Sheepdog Response, is basically 2.5 days of fighting and shooting. Like you were literally on the range shooting guns proficiently for like 6 hours. And then you go and have a break, and then you come back and you fight, or you learn how to fight for another 6 hours. So I was fortunate enough going into that I had already scheduled my fights. So I was already working with the guys at Kuroshi at the dojo for a few months at that point. But really, I mean, going to that thing, really, when you get these guys who are such a high level at, especially at shooting, and they pull you aside, and basically from the time you move your hand to put it on your gun, they're automatically critiquing you. I mean, I won't forget that. I remember standing on the firing line, all the guns are unsafe, and you're literally moving your hands, from your side to your gun. And the guy's like, no, wait, stop. You don't put your elbow like that. Or you got to articulate your hand like this, or you got to do this. And I was like, whoa, seriously? And then you grab your gun, and then he's like, no, you don't grab your gun like that. You grab it like this. And then you pull it out of the holster. No, you don't pull it out of the holster like that. You pull it out like this.
Wow.
So there's so many, and you start to realize like, wow, like, I know very, very little about something I knew a lot about.
Right.
Yeah. So that was good. And then, same thing going in with the guys from Kuroshi at the dojo. You walk in, and I thought that I, knew a good amount about, martial arts and fighting and stuff. And then you quickly realize like, wow, these guys are on another level,
For sure.
Yeah. And that's been like such a great thing for me, like personally. But going back to all that, like, I just felt like I just needed like all that stuff in my life, and I needed to be really good at it. So deciding to fight was I wanted a goal. If I don't have a goal in my life, like something to train for physically and mentally, like I get sloppy. It's like I have to always have something on the horizon. Like there's always got to be something like, either 3 weeks from now or 6 months from now or a year from now, or something that I have to do in order to stay focused and vigilant and disciplined. And if I don't have that, like, I can see myself slipping away and getting soft and, not staying, where I want to be, both mentally and physically. So having that like in my head is really good. So deciding to do the fight, it was like, okay, I need a goal. But then, and I've told this to a lot of people, I wanted to, and this is going to sound weird, but I wanted to know that I could kill somebody with my body if I didn't have a weapon. And I remember talking to, Coach Mike before, and he was getting ready for like his pro boxing fight, and we're training at the same time. And I literally remember telling him, I'm like, well, my mentality is I'm going in there and I'm going to do everything like you told me to do, but I'm going to do everything to try to kill this guy. And there's a ref there to stop me. And like, that was my mentality. I had nothing personally against the guy I was fighting. I didn't know anything about him really, just what, I trusted the coaches and what they told me to do. We had a game plan, and I didn't go in like a psycho. I mean, I went in exactly how they told me to do things and did it and was successful. But that was my goal. I wanted to know that like I could have that feeling of, and again, it's going to sound crazy, but I wanted to know that I could do that mentally and physically, and it worked out well. And I felt pretty good about that. and, have continued to train with the guys at Kuroshi just because they're great guys. I mean, there's
high quality.
What's that?
High quality guys. I mean, they're not just good at fighting, they're good people, which is oftentimes like when people find out I do martial arts, they don't always think it fits, but they don't realize how good it fits. Like if you don't do it, like what are the chances I actually get in a fight? Extremely low. But one of my good friends, another Dan, says, dude, you'd mess some people up. I'm like, you're absolutely right. Like you are absolutely right.
Sure.
Like if we ever were in a situation, I'm much like you in that way. I don't know why I've practiced martial arts for so long, like 15 plus years. And I hope that I just go seamlessly off doing martial arts for another 40 years. But I know that there's a real chance that at some point in my life, all that training happened for all those training hours is for that 1 minute.
For that one time. Yep.
1 minute.
Yeah. All the shrimping down the mat, all the breathing drills, all the, taking shots, wrestling shots up and down, skinning your knee and blocks.
What happened to you recently? Like, didn't you get one to the beak?
At practice. Yeah. But it was at practice, and it was a great learning experience. Everyone was like, oh, are you mad? Are you mad? And I'm like, no, I'm not mad at all. It's like, if you want to be savage, you got to practice savagery. Do you think you're going to practice savagery without having like an injury? What do you think happened 500 years ago? You think the Vikings were like, oh no, time out, everybody. You got a bloody nose. Let's not storm the beaches today because, let's take things down a notch. It's like, no, it's like, that's what you do. So, I mean, I wasn't, and I'm still not upset at all. Yeah. He broke my nose with I broke my nose on his shin more than he broke my nose with his shin,
Right. I get it. I can relate to this.
I leaned down to get a low body shot. And as I did, my hand slipped down below my face where it's not supposed to go. And as he was going through his flow and he brought his kick up, it wasn't even a hard kick. It was like a boom, snap really quick. And then that was it. But, that sucked. But, it was a great learning experience. And I know now to always keep my hands up when I go for a low shot, no matter what.
Yeah, right on. So let's go from the martial arts stuff to the guns. Cause I know you're always and I know Sheepdog did that. And I know you're doing that. And you're extremely familiar with guns. And I know you shoot at your house and you do stuff. And now you're talking about this tactical games thing, which I literally know nothing about. So I need you to shed some light there.
Yeah. So again, going from after I did Sheepdog and then coming from that, my training regiment with shooting, completely changed. I went from going out and kind of plinking a few rounds here and there kind of for fun to everything's a drill. There's these specific drills I got to hit on these specific days. And you got to, these are your goals that you have to hit. And here's how you got to hit them. And here's how fast you got to be and how accurate you got to be. And each goal is different. And then you start, getting better at that stuff. And you start going from, a standing position to a kneeling position. And then you're hiding behind a barrel. And then, you're moving or swinging a kettlebell. And then you're picking your gun up and you're going through that stuff too. Or you're hitting the bag a bunch of times. Then you're running to the firing range and then you're shooting. So after Sheepdog, it was no more go out and shoot for fun. I probably didn't shoot a gun for fun after that until I don't know, a year later. After doing that, it was all business shooting, for purposes to get better. But in April, I think I had a random total cold call on my phone. This guy called me and said he got my number for one of my training partners at the dojo and said that, he was a Department of Defense shooting instructor. He's a former recon Marine. And he was going back to school in town. And as he was doing that, he wanted to have a side hustle where he incorporated, both shooting and fitness and fighting kind of all in one thing, because it's where the industry is really going. There's nobody listens to the guys who are, super fat and, can't move and are just good at shooting. Those guys they used to be the big top experts and write in all the gun magazines. And that day is dead. Those guys aren't listened to anymore because they're transferred their transferability advice from that to like actual like combat is totally gone. Like they have none. So people now listen to guys who know how to move and shoot and fight and do all that stuff, because it all does roll together. It all comes together in one. So this guy called me, my buddy Raph, and said, let's at least get together and talk about an idea. And so we got together and talked, and we hit it off really well. And then we bought a LLC together that is called Dark Zero Consulting. And we rocked it all summer. I mean, we taught concealed carry classes. We did a lot of individual instruction. We worked with different police departments, SWAT teams, houses of worship. We did all kinds of stuff, and it was super fun. And it was one of these things where stuff that I had just kind of like learned, and that he had obviously learned, just melded together very well. And we were able to give some really good information to some people. And just like with personal training, it was like, we meet with the people and give them an immediate instruction. And then we kind of have like, homework that they give. And then we meet them up again and, review everything, and then continue on with, more drills and more stuff they can do to feel more comfortable with what their goal is. So it worked out great. I mean, we went from having literally SWAT guys come out and do drills with their battle rifles. And then we would see people who were first-time gun buyers and had no idea what they were doing. And we, worked with them too. So, I mean, it was a great variety of people, and it was a ton of fun. It's pretty exhausting, but it was a lot of fun. So we did that all summer, and we're kind of winding it down a little bit now. Mm-hmm. We had hoped to do like a big camp, like a 3-day camp type thing, where we did something similar to Sheepdog, where we did like, combat rifle, combat pistol, combat shotgun, and then like an element of fighting and an element of fitness. But we didn't get around to that this season, but that's coming in the works. Awesome. But that's a great thing. And that segued me into the tactical games, which is basically just CrossFit with guns. So nice. You're literally like, doing a CrossFit type workout where you're, doing rope climbs and, sled pushes and sandbag throws. And then you get up to the firing line, and then you shoot for accuracy and time. And then you do everything up, 4 or 5 rounds. And that's my Tuesday night, so like, that's right up my alley. So I'm extremely pumped. Yeah, I'm extremely pumped for it. I go in January to do it. And I have got huge aspirations to come away with a trophy. So
awesome. Very cool. Yeah, where's that at?
It's going to be in Florida. It got moved from Clearwater down to Immokalee, which I've heard from different people, it's not the best part of Florida. So I actually got a buddy who's got a place in Fort Myers. So I'm going to drive down, and then I'm going to go from Fort Myers to Immokalee to where the range is, and compete there. So awesome. I've been compiling all my gear and practicing a lot. And so I've been, lifting a ton and running my obstacle course a lot, and then shooting every day. So it's been, it's been a great goal to have. It's been different than the fight, because you definitely don't gotta walk around thinking about trying to end somebody's life with your hands all day. Right. This time it's just shooting targets.
Yeah. So it seems like you have this almost, you feel, it sounds like a responsibility. Like you feel like if shit goes down, right? Like you're the guy that's got to step up. And I think, there's a small group of people that kind of feel like that's the way. Like I've said for a long time, like if you get together a group of people and they're all looking around, like I'm always the one that gets the keys. Like that, I'm the one they toss the keys to. Like, I'm going to get you from point A to point B. It's just kind of it's who I am, or who I've become, or whatever. And I like the parallel there, because I feel like you have this, like nobody really told you that you have this responsibility. You just kind of recognized, whether it was that one day with that horrible event or whatever happened, like something happened in Bill's life that made him say, I'm going to be the guy. Is that a fair assessment of this?
Yeah, man, I think so. I was talking to somebody today. The movie 300, from everybody knows 300. Come on.
Yeah.
If you don't know the movie,
100 times. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If you don't know what it is, call me and I'll watch it with you, like tonight, like right now.
Yeah, right.
But I was talking to somebody about that today, and I got like kind of pivotal moment in my life is when I actually was able to do like a phone interview with Mark Twight, who owns Jim Jones out in Salt Lake City, who was the company and the guy who trained all the actors and stuntmen for the movie.
Mhm.
So I actually did a phone interview with him when I was in college for like a journalism class, and it was so profound, and it like kind of really put my head in a whole different space. And the one thing I kind of noticed about like what he said about the guys in the movie is like nothing was fake. Like their attitudes and their mental toughness was all 100% real. And like if you've been locked in a warehouse eating like feta cheese and kale for 4 months and working out twice a day and then learning sword play, and then you're hanging out with these guys all the time who you get super close to, like you're going to develop this kind of like attitude and this kind of mindset that like, it just puts you on a different level. You just get past like all the superficial kind of bullshit, of life and everything. You're not worried about parking spots anymore. You're not, worried about, minuscule things. Like there's so much more, like you're not thinking about that kind of stuff, like minimal stuff anymore. And I love that. So like my first day at the dojo at Kuroshi, like it was so great. And I knew I was in the right place and I knew it's where I belonged. Cause like the first thing we did was like line up and meditate. And, Coach Mike says, clear your mind. There's nothing more important for you to be doing. Like, this is where you need to be. And I was like, you know what? That is right at my alley. Like, this is where I need to be. And I love that. I absolutely love that idea and that attitude and that mindset. So that whole kind of like FU mindset is 100% where I'm at with so many things, and I think when you get to that point, like you can be honest with people and you can be confrontational without being a jerk. And I think that that's super important to kind of know yourself in that way. And I feel like that's a never ending journey. Like you are always finding stuff out. And I like that. I like that a lot. So yeah, I mean, if, I'm not like the ultimate badass and I never try to put myself out there as like, don't mess with this guy or whatever. I do like the fact that I know that I could handle myself with my body, with a rock, with a knife, with a gun. I like to build a facade that says, don't even fucking try it. And then I like to be able to back that up, because there's too many guys out there, just like I said, with the predators, like in the fitness field, there's so many guys out there who are just bullies and they're just predators. And, the best way to get through that is just, show them that they can't do it anymore, And so yeah. I think, the more good guys out there that are highly skilled at being violent, the better it is for society as a whole. So
that's awesome. Good, man. Yeah. Looks like we're already up on our time limit. Is there, before we really sign off? I know. Happens pretty quick, man.
Right.
Before we sign off, is there anything else that we should know about Billy Decker?
North Ranch Training is my other side hustle. So that's my at-home gym and obstacle course and kind of group training place. So if you ever need to climb a rope or do a salmon ladder and then run over to the shooting range and shoot guns really fast and then hop in an airdyne, my place is the place for that.
That's awesome.
And then Fitz's personal training, which is where I'm at right now on Central Avenue, is where I work, and it's great here.
How can they find you? Like they find you there, or is there you have a phone number or anything?
They can find me here. Yeah. Fitz's PFITZ. That's awesome. Or North Ranch Training LLC on all the socials. That's both places.
Sweet. Awesome. Cool. Thanks, man. I appreciate your time. It's very interesting talking to you. Like we're going to talk more about this on a personal level because I want to start doing some of this cool shit. So
awesome. Thanks, brother.
Thanks, brother. Be good.
DeVerna offers products and services using the following business names: Creative Financial Partners, Insurance and Financial Services, Emeritus Investment Company, LLC, AIC, member FINRA, SIPC, Security Investments, Emeritus Advisory Services, AAS Investment Advisory Services. AIC and AAS are not affiliated with Creative Financial Partners. Products and services are limited to residents of states where the representative is registered. This is not an offer of securities in any jurisdiction, nor is it specifically directed to a resident of any jurisdiction. As with any security, request a prospectus from a representative, read it carefully before you invest or send money. A representative will contact you to provide request information. Representatives of AIC and AAS do not provide legal or tax advice. Please consult your tax advisor or attorney regarding the situation.
Whew. Thanks for watching.